King 5 News at 11.
Two Western Washington police officers were gunned down in the line of duty at the end of last year.
In the wake of the shootings, the King 5 investigators rode along with 3 officers during one 24-hour period, covering the same beats where their friends and colleagues died. The goal was to capture the emotions and feelings these officers are still struggling with as they carry out their job of protecting us. Chris Ingalls begins our special series, 3 Badges, 24 Hours from the Streets of Pierce County.
I'm a deputy sheriff here in Pierce County.
800 block of 152nd East.
I work out at the South Hill precinct. We're here to do a job, 435 County, I'll be in the area, NBC. We're here to do a great job and do the best job that we possibly can do.
2 cars, 435, 1624, the other car?
435 County, I'll assist 534. We'll check into it.
Deputy Art Santoni answers the first call of the day.
He's up there at the house. We'll just drive up there, maybe park about 2 doors away and make contact with him and
confine it's a kick out order.
Yeah. Let's roll.
I just went and did it. I got some of my clothes, threw them in the back of the truck.
Oh, so you've already
Yes,
done
I did.
Looks like it's going to keep you out of that house over there for the next 2 weeks.
He and another deputy are serving this woman with a court order to move out of the home of her boyfriend.
That maybe the sheriff's department will do a civil standby.
He's sitting just a few feet away.
Hello. Hi. Sir, she doesn't need anything else out of the home.
It's the start of a 10-hour shift that will be full of what officers call domestics.
Understand the way that you feel.
Arguments between family or friends that they can't seem to settle themselves.
Hey, the order's in effect. I wouldn't suggest that you start talking to him right now. You never know what you're going to get with these situations. This one turned out relatively smooth. But when nighttime falls,
He was assaulted by several subjects.
different people come out.
Which one of her fighting was going on 61st Bay Avenue in the middle of the street?
Somebody got tased.
We're going that way.
Deputy was just involved with the male half of a domestic violence situation.
370 County Road, last call.
Found the guy on Pacific Avenue. Let the medic straight you. The guy proceeded to fight with the deputy.
I didn't do nothing. It was actually really crazy because I was just driving down the road and he jumped on my hood and I saw him taser him and pepper spray him and the guy still wouldn't go down.
Just found out from his wife that he's high on PCP, which would explain why he was able to defeat the taser. This one actually, both probes stuck in his chest and he swatted it away like he was swatting a fly.
I didn't do nothing.
Domestic violence calls are known for going from mild to wild in seconds.
There's high risk for assaults, things going bad.
Last month, 2 fellow deputies were shot when a seemingly cooperative domestic violence suspect pulled a gun. Veteran Deputy Kent Mundell died. The 6th local officer lost to gun violence at year's end.
It made me feel ill. It made my heart sink. Law enforcement is my family.
The men and women of the South Hill precinct lost a close comrade when Deputy Kent Mundell was gunned down. But they also have a link to another recent law enforcement tragedy. Maurice Clemens lived on their beat.
This is Maurice Clemens' home where he lived, here in Parkland.
Because of previous calls to his house, Deputy Santoni knew of the man behind the coffee shop killings of 4 Lakewood officers, weeks after a similar police assassination in Seattle. The relentless bloodshed made officers feel things they don't often admit to.
It made me feel weak. It made me feel vulnerable.
And it has changed police work, at least for now.
Police.
Deputies are on their toes for the last call of the night, a suspected meth lab in Parkland.
It looks like somebody's experimented and dabbled in it just a little bit.
No longer can they afford to let their guard down, even after they've left a dangerous scene.
When I write a report in my patrol car, I try to find a well-lit, safe area.
Writing reports and coffee breaks now require the same mental alertness as the night's other duties.
You're constantly looking to the right, looking forward, looking to the left.
Yet deputies have also found themselves being targeted for another reason, by a grateful public that wants to give its deepest thanks.
I think they're brave. I think they're great.
We get a lot of folks that come up to us and shake our hand. They'll be at a traffic signal next to us. They'll honk their horn.
And that outpouring is giving officers strength in their time of need.
We've grown tighter, we've grown stronger, and we've grown better.
20011.
In Pierce County, Chris Ingalls, King 5 News.
The King 5 investigators continue their special series tomorrow night at 11 as they ride along with an officer who lost a close friend to the recent violence. A Pierce County deputy was killed in the line of duty last month, the sixth Western Washington officer to die in a terrible year for law enforcement.
How do officers do their jobs with these dangers so obvious? The King County investigators hit the streets to get a glimpse inside their new reality. Tonight, Susanna Frame continues our special series, 3 Badges, 24 Hours.
This is pretty much God's country. This is the best place. My name is Jim Jones. I work for the Pierce County Sheriff's Office.
Deputy Jones starts his day shift in blustery conditions in the mountains of southeast Pierce County.
Okay, I'm currently assigned in the Mountain Detachment residency, and we patrol pretty much a rural area of about 713 or 719 square miles of Pierce County. 115 William Victor X-ray, 1600 block of Kvalsner.
Early shift, a routine traffic stop. Even those are a different animal out here.
Hello. What's happening? Have no brake lights on your car. You get it.
If something goes wrong, you're on your own. Backup can be miles away.
It may be 40 minutes before you get the first police car up to you. So you're just either going to have to be successful or there could be another bad day in Pierce County.
The last bad day out here was right before Christmas, December 21st.
It literally makes you sick.
2 mountain dispatch colleagues were shot responding to a domestic violence call. Deputy Kent Mundell, a dear friend of Deputy Jones, didn't make it. He spoke about his last minutes with Mundell at the memorial.
I got to touch him. I got to kiss him on the forehead. I got to tell him how proud I was of him. I got to tell him I love him. And I got to tell him goodbye.
We're going to go knock on the front door and see if he's inside the house.
Mid-shift, back up for an arrest of a man suspected in a string of burglaries.
Hi, pups. I'm going to go to the back of the residence while Tony knocks on the door, and if he runs out the back, we will chase him down and hopefully apprehend him.
If anyone should be apprehensive about putting the badge back on, it's Jim Jones. Not one, but 3 close friends murdered on the job. Deputy John Bananola, shot and killed during a drug raid in 1995. 2 years later, Tacoma police officer Bill Lowry, a college buddy of Jones, killed in a hail of gunfire during a standoff. And then, Kent Mundell.
I think that most of us, we recognize it can happen to any one of us at any time.
But worrying he could be next is the last thing he lets himself do.
Can't let that bother you or make you not do your job or be afraid that you could get injured or that somebody sooner or later is going to try and take your life. It's cat box litter.
End of shift, debris in the roadway from an unsecured load.
That far above the bed? Oh, that's her right there.
That's her. Well, if she's going to come and pick up her stuff, she better put her tailgate up.
No matter how benign the call may seem, in a split second, something can go wrong. And with that in mind, Kent Mundell left behind an important lesson which Deputy Jones passed on to fellow officers at the memorial. Honor your colleagues and let them know it.
Kent never had a problem with saying, I love you, man. He'd type
it on our MDC, which is our mobile dispatch computer, to you after you left a call. He'd say it to you after you left a call.
And I think that's something we should probably take to heart.
Tomorrow night, we go from the mountain country of Pierce County to the streets of Seattle, to the East Precinct, where they lost one of their own in an ambush on Halloween night. As we continue our series, 3 Badges, 24 Hours. I'm Susanna Frame.
For the past 2 nights, the King 5 investigators have given you a unique look into the world of policing.
Tonight, in the final installment of our special series, 3 Badges, 24 Hours, King 5 reporter Linda Byron and photographer Doug Burgess hit the streets with a Seattle cop who's done everything from helping the homeless to confronting a mass killer.
All right, so here we go. Good morning.
3 a.m. in the Seattle Police Department.
We got a couple things to cover.
Burglaries in this area.
It's roll call for First Watch.
Make sure that when you step out of this door,
the sergeant's briefings are a lot more specific these days.
Have a plan. If your radio falls off, have a plan.
Here's why. The Wall of Fallen Officers, a landmark in the East Precinct, has added a new name. Officer Tim Brenton.
You try to hope that, you never forget.
He was sitting in his car reviewing a stop with a rookie when he was shot by an angry man looking to kill a cop. An ambush that could have happened to any one of them.
It's a sad day. It's very hard. Yeah.
Stretching south from the Ship Canal, the East Precinct is a long, narrow sector that includes affluent homes and impoverished neighborhoods.
Every person that you contact, you have the ability to make a difference in their life.
Leaving the sanctity of the precinct, Officer Leonard finds the city still asleep.
Obviously, with the recent happenings in the community, have put us all, on extra alert.
A new GPS tracking system helps officers better watch out for each other.
If I want to look for a specific individual, know where they're at.
Whatever to it here.
Leonard is soon racing to back up other officers investigating a suspicious vehicle.
It's instantaneously, whereas before it might have taken a few extra seconds to get there. I think it's strengthening us.
You'll see 3 or 4 cars respond to a call now. The rash of police shootings a reminder of how quickly typical can turn tragic.
Most of our shift is 8 hours of boredom with 5 minutes of excitement. You train for that 5 minutes of action.
That place cracked, Rod.
Hours of tedium.
Female subject had a $10,000 warrant.
Interrupted by flashes of adrenaline and anxiety.
Possession of a firearm, I believe. The calls just will vary tremendously.
Dawn brings a moment of solace. But not for long. An officer stopped in a car can be a target.
You get copycatters. You get that mentality. If I'm going to go down, I might as well go down in his history as, a cop killer.
Leonard says he does this job because he likes helping people. Sometimes that means patrolling a school where an intruder has been robbing kids.
Taking items off the students, iPods, gold chains. Robbed 2 students, one at knife point last week.
And sometimes the job means laying your life on the line.
March 25th, 2006. I was driving around to this side of the school.
Then saw a group of dazed kids on a sidewalk.
And at that point they said, there's a guy in the house with a shotgun that shot people.
Seattle Police and Fire Operator 79. Yes, shots fired.
I had my gun out. I was moving up the sidewalk.
Leonard was the only officer nearby.
Then the calls started coming into 911 from the people that were in the house.
People are screaming, and I keep hearing firing. There's at least 4 or 5 people that are shot.
As he approached the house, he saw the gunman.
So I yelled, Seattle Police, show me your hands. He immediately stopped dead in his tracks and spun the gun and pulled the trigger and dropped.
Kyle Huff had committed suicide and left behind a trail of 6 bodies.
Yeah, the one on the steps and the one on the porch were dead. And then I could see knees or feet moving in the house.
Leonard says it made him more compassionate as an officer.
Couldn't put you on a couch or anything for a few days or something?
Which is why it's not surprising to see him gently counseling a homeless man who'd been attacked.
Oh, everybody needs help sometimes,
As Officer Leonard heads back to the East Precinct, it would be tempting to try to forget all of the human misery he's seen.
You try to move on, but you never forget.
In the final 2 months of last year, 6 police officers were murdered here in Western Washington. That has departments everywhere looking for ways to make policing safer. But it will always be a dangerous job. I'm Linda Byron.